Want to make mention of the emergency exits. One to my left, marked exit, and the main entrance as you had entered in. Could we have a motion to open the regular meeting?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
We have a second. Any comments, questions? Okay. All's in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. First on the agenda is the queue. We had our traffic consultant review, and maybe, Steve, you want to go over anything first?
No, I mean, so, this is a reapproval. Really took a serious look at it a few years ago. It's really plans hasn't changed. There was a couple of, comments we recently received from Lankin Tully, which we addressed, really mostly map notes for the most part. We did do the traffic study at the request of the board. You did receive a comment letter from DTS. There's really no showstoppers on that. We didn't think. Our consultant responded back. You should have got that today. But it's really just some clarifications, some additional information, and some questions on operations. We'd like to move forward. The applicant's anxious to get going, and he's in a good position financially to start the project. So tonight you guys could reconfirm seeker, and then also maybe possibly a conditional final site plan, just a final review of your traffic consultant looking at our responses.
Okay. Maybe what we'll do is there were some, not issues, I should say, but some comments made from the study. Maybe we could have, and can you state your name for the record, please?
Brian Haggerty.
Brian Haggerty from Provident. Maybe you want to go over that?
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So we wrote our memo. I could just quickly go through our memo to summarize.
Please. Thank you.
So the project is a 72 two-bedroom apartment complex and associated parking to be located on the western end of Stephen Lane. I'll just go through our memo. So we first looked at access and on-site circulation, generally checked lane widths, parking space sizes. The applicant showed some fire truck turning movements, which we checked, and they all appeared reasonable. Our only question was on the southeastern side of the site plan. It shows a garbage enclosure, which appears to be the only way to pick up the garbage would be to stick out into the roadway. So that was our concern there. I know the applicant did submit the responses to our comments earlier today. They have stated that the garbage pickup hours would likely be between 5 and 6 a.m. and wouldn't really interfere with traffic operations, and we're in a general agreement with that. The next section was about the study locations and the traffic volumes themselves. So the applicant did do a study back in 2020. This was a restudy of these intersections. So the applicant compared newly collected data from 2026 to that of the original data, as well as looking at New York State Department of Transportation traffic data, compared the three of them. It wasn't clearly stated how they compared. That was our comment. How did they compare? I know in the memo sent this morning to us, the applicant said the data all compared relatively closely, something slightly higher, something slightly lower, but in general, the volume, the data was okay, and we are in agreement with that as well. The next section is the background traffic volume development, the growth rate. So the applicant had stated there was no known nearby adjacent developments, and they used a 2% growth rate, which is similar to what they used in their 2020 study. we needed that confirmed. They told us that this morning in their memo, that the 2% was based on their old study, and it, in agreement with NYS DOT general growth trends over the last few years, so we're in agreement with that as well. Next section was trip generation. The applicant utilized the 10th edition of the Institute of Transportation Engineers trip generation manual in the original study. Since then, they are now out with the 12th edition, so the applicant did a comparison of the trips from the 10th versus the 12th, and realized that the 10th actually gave higher trip generation estimates, so therefore they used the 10th edition numbers, which we're in agreement with, as that's more conservative analysis. Next was trip distribution. They did this based on existing traffic patterns, with approximately 60% of the trips originating to and from the north and 40% to and from the south. We verified the volumes, the existing trip volumes, and are in agreement with these distributions. Next, we looked at the synchro analyses, various factors involved with that, including factors they put in the analysis, which lane widths, peak hour factors, whether it was the default or they used their own calculated ones, which they used the calculated ones, grades on roads. And in general, we are in agreement with the analyses as they've presented them. We had one note there, which we have learned since this morning on a memo we received this morning. They had a typo in their report, stating that LOS values of F are better during the AM and PM peak hours, when they had meant to say C, which is what makes more sense from looking at the synchro analyses when we had looked at them. So that addresses that comment. And the other are just minor comments. So in general, the overall difference between the no build and build delay is not changing that much. So we were in agreement with the synchro analyses from that point of view. The applicant stated that they had provided the signal timings in the report. However, we did not see them in their report, so our comment was that they should provide the DOT signal timing plans, just so we could verify that in the analyses. Next is the crash data. The applicant had ordered crash data from the New York State DOT from January 1st, 2021 to April 30th, 2025, and summarized these crashes at several of the intersections. We had asked the applicant to compare the crashes at these locations to the statewide average, and to state whether they believe the proposed project would influence these crash rates. As based on some of the intersections we saw, there were some high accident rates at some of these locations. I believe in the response memo from the applicant, they had stated, they had compared to the statewide average and provided that to us, and stated that they don't, despite these experience some higher than average crash rates, they don't believe their project would contribute to those crash rates, as they're only contributing I think at one intersection less than 5% of the total traffic experienced by the intersection, and the other second intersection of less than 2%. We're in a general agreement with that. The next section was the site distance the applicant looked at. There was one concern with the site distance looking, when you're leaving Stephen Lane, looking to your left, there was some vegetation in the way. The applicant had mentioned that some vegetation pruning should be done there, and that when you're traveling southbound on Still Road, that a W2-1 sign, which is an intersection warning sign, should be installed. And we're in agreement with that and believe that should be part of the resolution. Next, we looked at parking. Based on the village code, there is a need for 1.21 parking spaces per dwelling unit, which for 72 dwelling units is 88 total parking spaces. And the applicant is providing 119 spaces, so well above what is needed. So we had no issue there. And the last, we talked about loading vehicles, and the applicant did respond to us this morning stating since this is more of a residential type of property and less of a commercial, there will be minimal deliveries, and if anything, it would just be pretty much UPS or little like mail trucks, and we were in agreement with that as well. So in general, we were okay with the analysis and don't really have any outstanding comments at this time.
I have one question. Did everybody understand that the intersection of Pine Tree, Stage, and Still Road is not going to have a blinker anymore? It's going to be a traffic signal? Okay,
I did not know that, no.
yeah. They're working on that now.
Okay.
Basically, they're realigning the intersection of Pine Tree and Stage. So, well, again, I haven't seen plans or anything. Maybe, Dave, you know more about it than...
I haven't seen those plans. no.
Okay, so I'm just wondering how they're going to take care of that one turn that comes off Stage Road. If you come down Stage Road, you can actually go left instead of going to the new light, and you can go left. That's the way it is today, at a stop sign, to get onto Still Road. So I don't know how that side of the road's going to work, if they're going to do any modifications. And when I was reading the traffic study, I said to myself, I wonder if everybody knew that they're working on the traffic signal. So, and what brought it, you know, you said about the intersection for the W2-1 sign, there's now going to be a traffic signal there, so,
That was meant for the Stephen Lane.
yeah,
Oh.
but I'm looking at down the road now, they're going to have to put up some signage there, hopefully, the village, that before you get to the intersection, that it's a, you know, a traffic signal intersection.
Mhm.
So I just wanted to make that point. I wasn't sure if you folks knew about that or not.
Okay.
That should make the intersection more safe. Is it gonna slow down traffic even more on Still Road?
Yeah, I mean, an intersection with a light should always improve the safety as opposed to what it is now. So,
And then the other thing I was thinking of is the level of service
yeah,
is going to be different.
that would change, yes.
That's going to change because now you don't have people coming through the blinker light, which you know, Still Road has the right of way to go through the blinker light. So the traffic is constantly going. Now you're going to have a pause. So the level of service is going to change on
Yeah,
that too.
we could request if you would want like a supplemental, just single intersection analysis of what it would look like with a traffic signal there.
I don't know how the board feels. I mean, it's something that, you know, I think is going to change things around, not to affect the project, but,
We don't know, actually. That might
Well, we
affect the
have-
project.
huh?
That may affect the project.
Well, hopefully in a positive way, is what I'm thinking. I don't know how important that would be to do, to modify the traffic study with the traffic signal there now.
I think it would just be a single study of the one intersection. I don't think it would be too much
Okay.
change to the existing study.
Yeah, I mean, just so the board knows and the public knows that, you know, there is going to be a difference from what we have here.
Okay.
So maybe we should have that done, if everybody's in agreement with that, okay?
Okay.
Yeah. I just feel better knowing that, you know, with the change there. I knew it was coming, but I didn't think it was coming this quick until they started to do the construction work.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it last month. I guess they started, sometime in June. I don't remember.
Mhm.
But
Are you sure that they're doing a four-way stop of the traffic?
that I don't know. Like I said,
Okay.
I don't know what the plan is. All I know is they've taken Pine Tree Road and they've ripped it apart. They've done drainage first. They widened Still Road by the intersection on both sides going north.
Mhm.
I don't know what's going to go on across the street if there's any change. So maybe that's something we should really look into, is what the plan is for that intersection. I know it was called a realignment, but I'm not sure how it's all gonna, plan out to become an end result. Right now, they have the traffic signal pole on the corner of Stage Road and Still Road, and it's up now, and it goes across Still Road. And it's only one, so that's what I'm trying to figure out, how is this gonna work?
Okay.
So maybe we should ask the village, since they're doing this, for the plans.
Yeah.
I wish I thought about it before, but I didn't come to mind until they started to do the
Yeah.
construction. So, I think maybe we ought to look at that.
So if our traffic generation in these, the adjoining intersections are somewhere between less than 5% and less than 10%.
Right.
I mean, we have, as an applicant, we have no control over the signalization of that intersection. And typically, we do it for, to make it better and safer.
Right,
And obviously, if you look at the historic of the accidents, that intersection, I think, was the highest of all the intersections that we looked at.
correct.
Because it was so convoluted. So I think that, that's going to be reused.
No, I
Right.
think 17M and Stage Road. 17M and Still Road was the highest, I think.
Yeah,
17.
Right, that's the highest, that's down below.
Right.
Yeah.
I have a question for one or either of you guys. It says, with regard to the July 16th Collier's memo under 3, it says, based on New York State Department of Transportation data, the recent growth for the area was less than 1% per year. What area is that? Is that the Village of Monroe?
The DOT does their own counts all over the state. I'm not sure exactly the specific spot that they're referring to, but it's likely there was a count done on Still Road, and they have several years of data. You could look it up online, but the applicant's stating that looking at the multiple years of data, it's grown less than 1%.
For Still Road, that's supposed to be.
That's what they're stating. The DOT's data is showing.
And it also goes on to say there aren't any known adjacent developments in the area. How far adjacent are we talking here? Because just down the road in Ninninger, there's a huge development. It wasn't there 4 years ago.
It's built already, or it's being built?
It's,
Which development is that?
when you go down, if you go down Freeland to where Ninninger Road is, where the state police are, there's a huge development there now. It wasn't there just a few years ago.
But
Oh, that's.
is it up and operating?
105, yeah, 105 and Ninninger,
Yeah,
and.
I guess that's it, yeah. When you make the right to go up towards the high school and middle school now.
Right, right.
I think it's partly, it's constructed or partly inhabited, I don't know what.
It's
but
quite a bit constructed.
It's quite a bit constructed, yeah, that wasn't.
Yeah,
Is it up and operating or no?
yeah.
Oh,
People
so
living there, they're building
that's
a
probably,
shopping center down the road from it.
That would be included in the counts generally than what they did.
I can't
Right.
imagine that's only led to a rate of 1% or 2% growth.
I haven't actually seen the DOT data to verify the 1%. That was sent to our office this morning, so I barely saw
Right.
it. But
And also, I know they're gonna change that intersection by Bramertown and 105, that intersection there where the light is now. Supposedly, there's gonna be.
Where all
all
the
new
construction is
work.
right now?
Where the apartments are across the street. And it's the corner of Bramertown that goes into KJ. And also the other side goes into the new development. And then 105 continues down to Ace Farm, travels down.
Right.
They're gonna be fixing that now. I don't know what they're gonna do, but I was told that. So, because it's very busy there.
It's very busy.
In the evening.
It backs
It
up.
backs up. Right,
Backs up way almost into
right,
17M.
right. And that's all the traffic going into the development there and KJ's
Right.
development.
Right.
Yeah.
That's my concern. Is that are we sure this traffic from the queue is going to just dissipate, or is it going to back up further?
Can't answer that. I
I
don't
would
know.
say the intersections that we studied, which were approved by this board initially and reconfirmed with your consultants, that we're not having an impact on the levels of service to those. I don't disagree with the development on Ninja Road is
Right.
pretty substantial, but
Yep.
not to say that that's going to, impact Still Road.
Yeah, I think what that impacts is those two developments, KJ in Bremerton, yeah, on that side. On the side where 17M is, going to Still Road, you're still gonna have the residents, my opinion, going to their homes. So, you know, we have it today. I don't know if I don't think there's no other developments in that area. So it's pretty well fixed, as far as I could see, so.
Mhm.
But anyway, maybe we should just update with the signalization now.
Okay.
And I'll see if I can get a hold of any plans to send over to you guys to, I don't know what it looks like or anything, what they're gonna do.
Okay,
So it's, you know, under construction now, so,
okay.
okay. Anybody else have any other questions, or, okay.
I'm just curious, when these traffic studies are done, is there a certain time of the day or day of the week, or is it just, like, is it Friday at 5 o'clock? Because I know to go from Home Depot to the queue might take you 45 minutes, and that's maybe 3 miles, right? I mean, that's safe to say.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, you know,
Yeah.
I'm just, in a general
Yeah,
question.
we study the peak hours of the day, so that's generally look at the AM peak hour during the weekday and the PM peak hour, which would likely be what you're talking about on Friday.
Right.
And then for this case, they studied also a Sunday peak hour due to the church across the street. So we look at the worst case scenarios generally, because every other time of the day it's going to operate better than those worst case scenarios.
Okay. Good? Everybody's good? Okay, thank you.
Okay.
We had, just want to bring it up to the board, we had a resident after the public hearing was closed, and a resident, wrote, I guess, a day or so afterwards, it's dated Thursday, April 30th, Joe Kiyose, I guess the way you pronounce their last name. He wrote a comment about the public hearing. I don't know if we want to put that into the record, even though we closed the public hearing. I just wanted to bring that up this evening to council.
So it's going to be put into the public record, but
Well-
it's not to be taken into account when you're making a decision.
Well, yeah, just for public record maybe, because basically we,
It's to be filed with the village clerk
yeah,
and put in the file. It's not to be,
well, with the secretary, our
Correct.
secretary.
but it's not to be taken into consideration when you're determining your
Well-
decisions.
Yeah, the way I look at it, maybe I'm wrong, you can correct me. We closed the public hearing, we didn't say anything about keeping it open or having written comments come in.
Correct.
But this came in all of a sudden. So maybe we'll just put it on record, on file?
Correct.
Okay. We don't need to do anything else with it?
Nothing else.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure we got that cleared. Thank you. Dave, I'm not sure, Dave and I spoke about, you know, the queue itself. And I wasn't here for the whole situation, but I'm not sure about seeker. Do we need to reopen seeker with the traffic study, that it's been updated? So my question maybe to you, Ivan, and to Dave,
Right.
where do we go from here?
So I can maybe recap exactly where we are with everything. As
Okay.
Steve Esposito indicated, this is a reapproval of a project that had lapsed. We had asked, and he has provided over the course of the last few months, confirmation of coverage under permits or approval of plans. Just to go through those, he does have the stormwater speedies permit issued. They did receive a continuance of coverage under the new permit. And also, the DEC approved the sewer main extension, July of 2023. That is valid for 5 years, so that's still good. Orange County Department of Health approved the water main extension in April of 2022, and that is valid for 5 years. They had covenants, restrictive covenants, that were part of the prior approval that were filed in the county clerk's office in 2022. And originally, the project was 3 lots, and they were consolidating that into 1 lot, and that in fact has been done. So that is already the case. It is now 1 lot. The public hearing, as you mentioned, was held in April of 2026. The public hearing was closed. The board at that meeting declared their intent for lead agency and circulated. I do know we got a response from the health department, no objection to the planning board assuming role as lead agency. You know, they did make note on there of the need for permits and plan approvals, which again, they already have the plan approval on. We did ask for a few things to get taken care of. I don't think we received them yet, Steve, and again,
Actually, I think it would be beneficial, Terry, if you could go to my letter dated March 18th, 2026. If we could put that up, is that possible?
Yeah, if, roughly when would it have come to me, so that, or what would it be labeled so that I can?
It was dated March 18th, 2026, and it's, the re was the Q, and it was our response to compliance with everything that we had to comply with, from both the special use permit, the site plan approval, resolution, secret findings, and Tully letter and green plan letters. Because our position is we've done everything you've asked us to do, and we've complied with everything that was required prior to signature of the map. The only thing that did come up is the traffic study at the board's request. We suggested you reopening up seeker. We did the notice. You know, the 30 days have passed. You can assume lead agency. So yeah, so that's it. So SP1, SP is the special. This is basically the first section is the special conditions. One is that they acknowledge that the special permit has to be incorporated in resolution. We acknowledge that. The memo from the planning board engineer at the time. There's several things that we responded to or acknowledged. One being acknowledged that the architecturals have to be packaged with the site plans. Those are the renderings and the building elevations for colors and materials. With the number 2 was building permit. We noted that the building permit is required for retaining walls over 4 feet. Number 3, note 11 is their standard note regarding landscaping and maintenance into perpetuity. 4, 5, and 6 are completed or no response. All fees have been paid. Special condition C2C. Performance bond, we submitted in the original application, we submitted cost estimates. They were approved and adopted by the village board. We updated those. We're going to get those to Tully for their sign off. As Dave said, the declaration of conservation easements have been filed with the county clerks back in 2022. SP2E acknowledged. We, as part of the conditions, actually of the board, is you wanted us to consolidate the tax parcels. There was 3 of them, which we did, and it's now one tax parcel. Dave said we submitted the NOI with the DEC. We then further went on and that was under the previous general permit. We then got coverage under the current permit. You also have a copy of that. SP7 building permit we received for clearing. SP9 applicant acknowledges tree clearing restrictions. They've already been cleared. SP10 acknowledges that all site disturbances shall be within the limits of disturbance. Applicant acknowledges that all improvements shall be conformed to the renderings and plans submitted during the site plan review process. Then more recent, on this go around, this is the more recent Tully letter in February 2026. Same thing, we revalidated the wetlands map with the DEC. It had expired, so now we have a new map that was done in December of 2025, and that's good for 5 years. Property adjoiners have been provided on the plan. We had to modify our striping detail for the parking stalls. We had a single line, it's now a double line. The village made that correction or change to the spec. ADA ramps are compliant. We were missing a 20-foot water easement, number 5. That's now included on the plans. Number 6 is the note 10 on the site plans. That's, again, that goes with the landscaping and perpetuity of the maintenance. We provided, it was on the detail, number 7, it was on the detail, but it wasn't on the plan, fences for the retaining wall, so nobody fell off. So they were now on the plan. 8 and 9, no responses. 10, that's the DEC wetlands, again, validated for 5 years. Orange County Sewer District, the permit, or Orange County Sewer District number 1, that was approved, and that's good for 5 years. Again, the declaration and conservation areas were filed with the clerks. Number 14, request for consolidation was done. 15 and 16, comments noted. Still Road is a village road. That was, GLM was not required. It used to be a county road. At some point in time, it became a village road, so, so that wasn't required. And then 18 and 19, it referred to the, again, the landscape, and I forget what the other one was. So that was, and then 20 it was regarding the bond, bond cost estimate that was previously approved, and we'll update that. And then this was previous attorneys' comments, recently in the 2026 go-around. Most of those have already been completed or discussed. And then the green plans, the first, number 1 was a comment on the proposed recreational amenities. I guess Mr. Fink didn't see them on L1, but the amenities include community garden area, pickleball court, picnic pavilion, pre-teen play structure, which are proposed within the required 13,500 square foot active recreational area. And then we're also proposing walking paths throughout the 182,820 square feet of open space.
So that's still there then, correct?
That's all, yeah, that's all part of the plan. None of that's changed. He had some comment about putting the existing utilities that are owned by Orange and Rockland that serve the 6 houses underground. We don't have the authority or the ability to do that, but our service will go underground to the buildings. So that's that. And then number 3, he questioned the ability to construct the walls adjacent to the 100-foot buffer areas without disturbing it. And we explained that they don't need spread footings, and Dave, I think, even concurred that, we were off a couple of feet, and it's just segmental walls. It's not, we can do it because it's not, we're not filling in the wetlands, so that's not. And then 4 is just the conservation easement again. 5, no response necessary. Number 6, all the existing trees, we cut the trees down. They've been cut down. And then number 7, Still Road is owned and maintained by the village. This just goes back to the referral to the county planning department. Number 8, L3, proposed luminaires. That's our lighting plan. We originally had 4,000 Kelvin for the light brightness. He suggested 3,000, so we amended the plan to have 3,000. And then we have the hours of construction noted on the plans as well. So, for our opinion, we think we've done everything that's been required of the applicant. We prepared the traffic study, and you've heard tonight that your consultant, agrees with our findings. So we would like to move forward.
Okay.
Just to clarify, there were everything that Steve just said. I concur with. He had submitted those revised plans. We went through those and found those all to be acceptable. The one thing that we did ask for following that meeting was the inclusion of the conditions of the DEC permit being noted on the plan. So again, that's just something we'd like to see on the final plan, is outlining the conditions of the DEC permit so that they're observed during construction. And then also, as you mentioned, the construction cost estimate needs to be submitted so we can review that and then submit a recommendation to the village board for acceptance of the bond amount and the inspection fees.
So those are the...
Right. And also with regards to SECRA, I obtained a copy today, and again, I personally wasn't around for the original approval on this, but Steve did provide a copy to me of the negative declaration that the board, originally adopted back in 2022. I did bring copies of it. I just got it today, but the board could, presumably use that in, considering a determination for SECRA.
Okay. So basically, the only thing we have done is the cost estimates, right? So we
Which would
still
be a
have to-
condition, you know,
Right.
that was a condition originally.
Yeah, so that has to be done. And I guess everything, all the site plan, all the plans except, well, all of them have been updated to 3/16/2026, except for the one water main profile was 3/25/2026. So that was the only thing that I saw. So if the board wants to move on this, unless, Brian, you had something else you wanted to,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I couldn't finish reading it, but I saw a note there for the retaining wall, that you were gonna keep it at 4 feet.
No, the code requires that if any wall over 4 feet has to have a building, you have to get a building permit.
So our zoning code, if it's 3 feet or higher, it needs a permit and it needs to be, designed by an engineer.
Right,
So,
that's what's noted.
okay. Very good. Just want to make sure.
Okay, all right. Ivan, you have anything that you want to add to this, or?
Not at this time.
Okay, so maybe what we want to do is we want to go ahead. The only thing is we don't have a resolution made up. I just want to make sure we have everything in the resolution to approve this evening. The seeker findings, I guess, Dave, you said you had, right?
Yeah, I emailed that before I left the office. I don't know
Okay.
if you have that, I don't know if something you can pull up, Terry, but, so it was essentially the secret finding and the negative declaration from 2022. And, again, the board can go through it and determine if anything has changed, but I know that the plan itself hasn't changed.
Right. Yeah, nothing has changed according to the applicant, so. And that's dated, what's the date of that?
It was signed January 25th of 2022.
My birthday.
Okay, good. All right. So we'd have to do this on a condition that the cost estimates, I guess what we should really say is that the chairman should not sign the site plan either until the cost estimates have been submitted and approved. All fees are paid. The acceptance by the village engineer and our attorney to go through everything before I sign it. But to do an approval, I think we should move forward then and move on this.
Well, if the board wants to, they could probably, take a look at the prior seeker determination, and as far as seeker's concerned, you could make a finding of significance, using that document. And if you
Okay.
find that it's in keeping and consistent with the original seeker finding, you could readopt the seeker finding, and then move towards a conditional approval. But seeker should be completed beforehand.
So we have to redo seeker then.
Yeah, if you want, I can read through it, if that's easier than reading it off the
Well,
screen.
why don't we go ahead and make a note that we are going to use the seeker document dated January 25th, 2022, instead of reading through all that.
Right, you don't need to just,
Right.
we can reconfirm your findings.
Correct.
From that date.
Correct.
And that we're subject to all of those conditions.
Right. I think the board has reviewed everything in the last 6 months. I reviewed as much as I could find the review, going back to last year, I guess it was, it came about. So do we want to make a motion to move forward and approve the seeker document dated 1/25/2022 in the findings?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion. We have a second. We have a second. All in favor? Aye. And then we should go ahead and we should approve the site plan or plans. Not that we're going to go through each one of them. So all plans that have been submitted, except for the water main profile, I make a motion that all plans have been updated to 3/16/2026 is what I found on all the plans, except for the water main profile, which was revised, I should say, revision dates. The revision date of the water main profile plan was 3/25/26, 2026. Does anybody have any different, or, I mean, that's my review, but I went through everything. Dave, I don't know,
So the approval would be subject to what you mentioned before.
Right.
Final review and acceptance by the village engineer and the village attorney, payment of fees, posting of the inspection bond.
And clearing the vegetation in the right-of-way and installing the W2-1 sign,
right,
which is part of the traffic.
correct. Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then we just need the cost estimate. So before the before we move on this any further of my duties, we'll wait for the cost estimate to come in,
Yeah, we'll get the plans to Dave
right?
and Terry, and updated plans, and then we'll get the cost estimates to Dave as well. They're done. I was just waiting for tonight to see if there was any surprises, but, so we'll get them to him.
And there's no other fees outstanding either, whether it's attorney fees or engineering fees. Want to make sure of that. And I guess that's it. I can't think of anything else, so,
All right, well, thank you very much for your help and
okay.
effort. So look forward to moving along.
Okay,
Thanks.
very good. Thanks, Steve. Next on the agenda, we have 386 Route 17M. Who do we have representing the applicant?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members. My name is Michael Morgante. I'm the engineer representing this application before the board. If you'd like, I can give a quick overview since last we were here. So actually, I wasn't here for the February meeting. I believe Joel covered. But based on feedback we've been getting from the board for a while now, we've been trying to make general revisions to the plan to try to meet, I think, the intent of the code and the special permit. So in this situation, in this iteration, what we've provided to the board is essentially we're raising the site, not that it already hasn't been, but we're looking to remove all the existing buildings at this point, allocate one large 30,000 square foot building in the middle of the property with parking around it. We can separate the two businesses, the two proposed businesses in this fashion, this way, such that you have the landscaping business on the left side, the fencing business on the right side. All the equipment, everything would be allocated accordingly. We're able to provide a ring road around the building for proper access and fire access, so we can get to all four sides of the building. I think in general, it provides a safer approach, eliminates the residential building that's in the middle, which I believe was a major concern. So from a site layout standpoint, I think we've taken a step in a better direction. So we're here before the board tonight. We did receive Dave's comment letter. We appreciate that. Again, we're only in a concept plan stage, but that comment letter is very good because it provides an outline moving forward for us and the board. But we're here tonight to kind of just have a further discussion with the board about this particular layout. Once we feel comfortable with what we're looking at in terms of a layout is when I'll take the project to the next level and start providing the engineering and all the other construction details that are required for the project. So on that note, I'll turn it over to the board and/or your consultants for questions or concerns.
Okay, Dave, did you want to go over anything? I mean, there's a lot there that,
Yeah.
of course, this is conceptual, so there's more engineering that's going to be needed. I don't know if you wanted to say anything about your review?
Well, a lot of them are repeat comments, because again, you know, we've
Sure.
reviewed prior versions of the plan. As Michael indicated, they've gone ahead and changed the overall concept of the plan. You know, I think the board should probably, you know, take a look at it and talk about just the overall scope and see if that's generally what they were expecting to see in terms of elimination of the residential component and the replacement of just the single commercial building. And then I think probably if the overall concept is acceptable, then, you know, the next submission would be something that addresses the majority of the comments, an updated EAF form, and then the board can start, the secret process with that.
The only question I have is that half-story stone dwelling, what's that gonna be used for?
I believe we're removing it. The one that's, if you can open up the site plan, Terry, that one right there, center right,
Yeah, that one right there.
existing building to be removed, there's a leader right
Yeah.
next to it to the right, so we're
So
removing.
that's gonna, so what's gonna be there, nothing?
The building will be, so the proposed building. So what we'll do in the next submittal is I'll prepare a demolition plan
Okay,
to go with, because I normally do that, but right now, again, we're just in the concept plan stage. So the demolition plan will serve as a separate sheet, which will show all the buildings, stone walls, driveways, whatever's existing to actually be removed, rather than blending it in with the site plan itself.
Could we zoom out of the map a bit so you can kind of see the entirety of the property and just kind of get a sense of the project? So that light gray area in the middle is the building,
Right.
and it's surrounded by, an access road with parking on the access road's on 4 sides, parking looks like it's on 3 sides, and single access off the Route 17M.
That's correct. Yeah, every existing building or structure on the site is proposed to be removed.
And the proposed new building is gonna be the north end? I don't know.
So the proposed new building,
is down.
Oh, okay.
is this rectangle.
Oh, okay, got
And
it.
it,
So the lighter.
Right.
Okay,
right.
And the darker gray would be the parking area and
Right.
the road around
Got it.
it. And here's our main entrance. This is where actually the existing entrance, driveway entrance is right now. This was one of the buildings that Gary was just referring to before. That will be removed. There's a note there. And this building also will be removed. And all the existing parking will be removed as well. Any of these structures around the corners will be removed. Everything will be removed.
What's the square footage of the building?
30,000 square feet. It'll be 180 by,
166.
couldn't read it.
Yeah, I have it in my notes, yeah. It's 180 by 166.
And it's
That's gonna
two-story.
be quite a,
It's huge.
that's gonna be a massive,
And that'll store like with the trucks and everything as well, the landscaping trucks?
Yep, so, so we have an allocated area here for any fencing posts and whatnot that are required for fencing business. These spaces over here will generally kind of be dedicated for their actual trucks and their trailers. They won't park them connected, right? The trailer will sit in a separate spot, the truck will sit in its own spot. We've got parking over here in this location too. We've got a loading area shown here. David made some comments about that and will provide more information. I did do truck turns, it was too early to show them for the set
Do-
plans.
Do you know, Mike, have you, what's the plan for stormwater management? Have you given thought to that yet?
Yeah, I'm thinking, starting to think hard about it.
'Cause, yeah,
The site's challenging. If you go back one sheet actually, the existing conditions plan, just so we can take a look at the topography. So I've received input from Joel's office, on some of this design, and so as I'm doing the engineering, certain things are gonna change. I'm not even so sure we're gonna need any of these retaining walls, because when I take a look at the site, it's actually not as steep. You follow what I'm saying is, so my goal, my thought would be, I don't think we're gonna need to do much of any grading in this area of the existing entrance. It's kind of established. We'll widen it, you know what I'm saying, for the trucks. We may need to put some segmental retaining walls on either side to create a proper way to contain that and to also be able to pass the flow of water through the wetlands. But up in the back over here and around, I'm not sure if we're actually gonna really need that retaining wall. We'll find out when I get into the actual engineering of this. But in terms of grading, I want to try to utilize the existing contours as much as I can, because if we have to file for a floodplain development permit,
Right.
filling in a floodplain is going to be an issue for us because there's really nowhere to compensate. We're utilizing most of the site. So, or we have to go out and do a flood analysis to prove that we're not raising the water levels 1 foot. Maybe we'll do a combination of both, but my game plan would be to try to utilize the existing contours as much as possible, not fill as much as possible. or at least balance the fill from the back to the front. You follow what I'm saying? Stormwater management, I have nothing left, it's going to be underground. So
And it has to be detained, right, treated and
Right.
then detained, because we can't have an increase in the rate of runoff.
Exactly right. So we're going to follow a full New York State DEC SWIP for this. If the concept plan is acceptable by the board, at least in its current nature, it's going to be modified. But if the
Right.
general idea is acceptable to the board, one of the next steps we'll do is go out and start doing some soil testing to see what kind of conditions we have out there and whether or not we can actually do something subsurface. I believe we probably can, because we have Hoosic soils over here, and those are sandy, gravelly soils, all in this corner. I think we've got some endorphins over here, which across the street I know from other experiences, and it tends to be sandy and gravelly as we saw for 573 Route 17M. So I think we have soils that are workable here for subsurface, but I've got to confirm. But the initial idea is that it seems positive. So what we would do is similar, if you guys remember the 573 New York State Route 17M project, I've got an infiltration system below the parking lot. And we would probably look at some kind of a similar approach to this. It could be a different name brand, different vendor or technology, but something along the same lines is what we'd probably propose here. So we would be able to capture all the impervious surface. We would infiltrate the lower storm events, like your 1-2 year events would actually percolate back through the ground. Your larger storm events, like your 10-year and your 100-year storm, they would build up inside these chambers and kind of overflow. But the rate at which they would be discharged from the property would be equal to or less than before construction. Those are the general rules that I would have to adhere to. Dave's office would review that and confirm. So that's kind of my mind's eye, at least in terms of this. I didn't show anything on the plan yet because I'm just trying to get to a concept layout with the board, and then we'll start showing all those other details. Otherwise, you end up with more drafting mistakes.
So
when you
the
come back.
elevation is lower up front, but as you go back, I can't see on my,
Yep, sure. So
so you're going higher.
You're at a
you're-
lower elevation down here. This would probably be your lowest
Right.
elevation, generally where the wetland is located.
Okay.
The stream that goes through it. And then you climb up. I didn't do a slope analysis, but I can tell.
Yeah, I was
based on
gonna
the
say,
scale and the spreading of the contours, it's not.
yeah, the contour I can't read here, so it looks like it goes higher as you go.
This area, generally speaking, in here is somewhat flat, and that's where a
Okay.
majority of the site exists.
Okay,
It's this encroachment up in here.
got it.
It's gonna be tough. I don't know whether or not when I'm done grading this, if I'm gonna need kind of like any retaining walls in the front.
Okay.
That's what I can't fully see right now. And I know what Dave's concern is that,
Mhm.
if I need a retaining wall inside the 100-year floodplain, I'm
Right.
filling, then we'll come back and look at that.
Right.
And we will certainly do that. But my goal is to try and keep that retaining wall and that fill as minimal as possible.
Is everything going to be paved?
So
Are you going to pave the whole new build area,
Yes,
or?
if you go to the next sheet, sorry, please. Yeah, one more time, the dark gray, the outline.
Right.
here, that's paved. Pretty much everything inside here is impervious
Right.
surface. So there is a lot of impervious surface going on
Yeah.
here. We have to try to also find a way to still meet the village's landscaping codes. I haven't lost sight of that. So some of these islands might be utilized
Right.
for landscaping. We're gonna have to start carving that out as well. Dave, one of your comments was too, that we might be blocking the dumpsters. We can talk about that. This is actually not designed to be landscaped.
You gotta just stripe it?
It's just stripe.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
No
so
problem.
that was a way to prevent cars from having a problem getting around the building
Right.
and trying to find a way to kill two birds with one stone.
Right.
which is putting the dumpster enclosure over there. So, but we have to still, there's a lot.
No, I
It's not
understand.
like, oh, This is gonna be like 25,
Right.
30 sheets.
Right.
While you're in that range.
And one of the questions Dave had too was are there roofs on the,
We have to look at that. We got Brian's email. I got Dave's comment letter as well.
the three of
We
them?
understand that these here, because they would be roofed, they would
Right.
technically need to meet regular setbacks that be considered not accessory structures, but structures. And that these 3 or 4 over here actually lie between the building and the front yard, so it could be considered located within the front yard. I made a mistake of
Right.
the front yard.
Okay,
So we're gonna have to, I don't necessarily want you to focus on this, I want you to focus, you know what I'm saying? On
The new part,
overall
right.
flow, and does the layout make sense compared to what we saw before? Are we going in a direction, does the board have any additional comments, or concerns that might help us develop a plan in a different way? That's,
I got a question. So obviously this is going to be mainly a business with landscaping and fencing, correct? Which obviously most landscaping trucks have trailers in the back. It seems kind of like there's a lot of building and not a lot of turnaround and backing up and, with a trailer. The southeast corner there where that box is, I don't know if it's, what is that? That just, that corner?
this is gonna be removed, these are existing pipe racks and covered storage sheds.
Okay.
So again, when I provide that next sheet, demolition plan, you're gonna see everything that's coming off.
Right.
And you won't see all the existing detail on this sheet. I mean, I should have done it for you this time.
Understood. Yeah, I can envision it.
But that's the idea there. So, and keep in mind that, we've got really large paved widths here. I mean, we're a minimum of 30 feet in most cases. That's what I need at least to usually get a fire truck around 26.
Yeah,
But I
the
try to provide
turn,
30 if I can.
yep,
How many, this building, it's one story or it's two?
2. It says 2-story on
Where does it say that?
the new building says 2-story frame.
Proposed 166 by 180 storage building and accessory office. I've got to get you guys architectural.
Because that was my next question.
And they don't want to say it isn't.
It seems like with all this parking, there's an attendant office space on
I
top.
don't think we can get more than 1 story on this though. Take a look at my parking calculations.
Right.
It'll tell us right away. Yeah, it's 30,000 square feet. That's my gross area. So this is 1 story as far as I know. But we're going to have to provide floor plans to you with some elevations, and that'll confirm it.
And that was my curiosity, if this is intended to be office space on top, if there was gonna be second floor, which.
I mean, could the building be, we're permitted what, 35? 35. So could the building be 35 feet tall but have, technically be 1 story but have a mezzanine? I don't know what they want to do yet, maybe.
Yeah, we just gotta be careful of the height.
The height, that's my point.
35
I mean, could we
feet.
go 30, 35 feet, but be one, not have 2 stories, have it be a 1 story? Because it's gonna be a construction style building, right? Fencing and landscaping. So, but we'll have to provide you with architectural plans and elevations so that we can confirm that. My thought right now is it's 1 story
Right,
with maybe a mezzanine office, but it would only be 1 story.
okay. And no basement or anything like that?
No,
Nothing
I haven't
downstairs.
heard of that yet, but I will.
I'm just
I'm
asking.
going to ask that question early, though, in the process because
I'm
you
just
mentioned
asking,
it. Yep.
because then we don't wanna be a 2-story building.
No, we don't. If we're going to have basements, we want to know early on.
Yep. Anybody have anything else? Any other questions? Go ahead.
About the occupants, because it mentioned that you have other occupants in there, so that was a question I had.
In my cover letter, you mean, or the narrative?
It mentions other occupancies, the landscaping and fencing, which I think that building is very big for just landscaping and fencing. Are you gonna have building supplies in there, and are you gonna have any rental areas?
We'll give you a little bit more detail on that. I know that Dave's comment letter had actually asked for that. Let me just see what I provided for you on my cover letter. Right now, all I'm aware of is a landscaping and a fencing business, and potentially offices that support those businesses that would be within the building itself. That's what I'm talking about. Maybe could be in a mezzanine level.
Yeah,
If you have a 25-foot tall building, because you need clearance for whatever you're doing in there for construction and storage, you could put an office, you follow what I'm saying?
Sure.
Cantilevered out or on posts that are at 15-foot tall.
Right.
So,
You mentioned construction, so that means we're gonna have building supplies in there too?
I believe so, yeah. I mean, this is the whole idea, is to,
It's not just landscaping and fencing, right?
it's a landscaping and a fencing business,
And that's it?
and that's it.
No other, no,
Nothing that I am aware of. And I confirmed the phone call tonight before I came here to make sure. I'm being told a landscaping business and a fencing business. So that's what we are getting an approval for.
Okay.
That'll be what's in the resolution, that'll be what's in the neg deck. And
We listed
on the
it-
plans.
We listed in our review that the use was permitted under sale and storage of lumber and building materials, which is permitted under special permit.
Right. Yeah, it could be sheet rock in there, you know. That's what I'm thinking of too.
That's what I'm thinking, it's more than just.
I'm sorry, I missed that part. What were you
It
talking?
could be sheet rock in there, selling sheet rock too.
Landscaping and fencing?
Well, building materials.
We'll be specific.
Yeah.
It's building materials that are incidental to the use.
Right.
Sheet rock would not be incidental to a landscape nor a fencing business.
We know that. That's all I'm gonna say. Anybody have anything else? We're good? Everybody looking at this conceptual plan, is everybody in favor of it?
I love the fact that they get rid of the houses. I love the fact that they're focusing on the two businesses. I think it's a huge building. I don't know if it's necessary for those two businesses. I mean, I think compare construction to other, built well, look at the size of they do just fine out of that piece of property. This is, immensely bigger. Again, just trying to conceptualize the size and the idea behind the reasoning for the size. Is there other reasons for it? That's my concern.
Which is why we'll give you the architectural plans. Let them show you what is going to be inside, what's going to be stored, what's going to happen, so that it can confirm all their questions.
Right, and the outside is gonna have material as far as like stone and things like that. Mulch.
Yes, we'll have to be more detailed as we
Right.
move forward into what we're putting in each. First, when we find the right location for the storage bins, then we'll tell you what we're putting in those storage bins.
Yeah, that's important. Is everybody good with the design that we see here conceptually?
Well, I think my concerns are with Paul's. I'm happy with the renovation and the removal of the existing buildings. They look pretty dilapidated, they're kind of eyesores. But this looks to be a massive project, and I'm not sure it answers, I'm not sure what needs such a massive building answers, but I guess we'll find out.
Let me give you the architectural plans, the elevation views. Let's see how we carve it up. I think it'll give more insight to everybody to make a better decision.
And the owners are welcome to come as well, because they can actually directly answer the questions.
He's been here a few times that I've
He
been
was
here.
here, he was here,
It's been a while.
So
yeah,
we'll
we got him here.
We'll see.
Danny, aren't there wetlands around here somewhere?
In the front.
In the front area?
So along the frontage, there are wetlands. I got involved with this project later on, so I have to get all the information of who delineated them, when it was done.
There
But
were concerns about runoff on neighbor's property already, right?
so if you see these kind of heavy dash,
Right.
long dash, short dash lines, these are basically the extent of the wetland.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth also noting, on either side of us across the street is all commercial. We do have residential dwellings behind us.
Right,
Right.
So the thought process was to give a good landscape buffer as well, but at the very least behind.
right.
We'll work with the landscape architect to see what's the most proper thing to plant back there. I mean, maybe a row of Norway spruces, maybe something a little more, I don't know, we'll find out. But I did want to bring it up that, this house here, even though it's set back, its property line kind of comes really about there. Same thing with this guy here, and then you've got these two behind us. I think this is Main Street Lane or something like that.
How much impervious surface are you adding?
Um,
Quite a bit, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would probably guess it's about 1.5 acres or so.
Yeah.
Right.
Probably. Yeah, probably, because the
Yeah.
building itself is 30,000 square feet.
The outer dark part is already there.
Yeah, that's gotta be.
Now they're gonna
Yeah.
pave the
I mean,
inside.
I've got my stormwater management cut out for me on this.
Yeah, I think between the stormwater management and the floodplain development permit, like, those are two things I think that may drive to some degree how close you can get to the, the creek that's on the left side of the site there.
It may drive the size of the parking, it may drive the size of the building.
Right.
So, this is our wish list, right? So now it's my job to see if I can make the wish list happen. But, I'm well aware of, I'm going to be using at some point somewhere all four sides for stormwater management. So then the applicant has to consider what that cost is.
Right.
Right? And then sometimes I tell an applicant what that cost is, and, oh, no, we're gonna, we're not gonna do that, we're gonna do something else, we're gonna do something less or whatever, but, so, yeah, we have some work.
So basically, the layout, everybody's satisfied with then, right? Okay. So the board is satisfied with the layout which you've presented tonight.
Okay, that's good,
And you have our engineer's comments.
I do,
So you got your work cut out for you.
yes. One question, is it too early for the board to consider circulating for seeker lead agency? Or do you think we're in a position where we could at least maybe consider that?
So I think we had some comments on the EAF, because
Right.
I think that was, I'm not sure that we got a revised
You might
EAF
not
based
have.
on the current proposal.
Yeah,
Right.
But I think if you can submit a revised EAF that's consistent and identifies any permits that you need, then the board can do lead agency and circulate.
that would be great, because it's
Right.
great to start that process early, get feedback and input from people. So we'll modify the EAF, we'll submit
And
it.
a narrative, too.
Absolutely, we can do
We
that.
need a narrative so we know exactly what they're selling and, what size that building is going to be and their definite intentions of using, what the use of it is for. So that narrative would be helpful.
Yep. We'll be glad to.
Okay, we good? Everybody good? Okay,
Okay, thanks for your time tonight, everybody. Have a good night.
thank you. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Okay, next on the agenda, 20 Owen Drive is on the agenda. And this is something I've been trying to figure out in the last couple of months. I know Ivan, you were involved with this. This has to do with Smith Farm. Now that I got all the information and we were able to, I talked to the applicant of Smith Farm, who's putting in a three-lot subdivision near Owen Drive. Since when this is on the border of the town and the village, the town has to notify the village of what they're doing, being so close to the boundary line. And vice versa, if we were doing something close to the town, we would have to do the same thing. So now that we have Dave and I kind of hashed this out this past week. What they're proposing is a three-lot subdivision. But the concern that I had and that we were looking at, when we approved this back in 2015, there was an emergency gate up on Owen Drive. Well, I haven't been on Owen Drive since 2014 or 13. I don't have any reason to go up there. So I took a ride last week, and it looks a little different than what I saw. There's a house that's at the end of the Owen Drive, which everybody, I don't know if you understand, Owen Drive is like a dead end. And what we wanted when we did the approval of Smith Farm, we wanted an emergency gate there. So, and we didn't want traffic coming out from Smith Farm onto Owen Drive, onto High Street to get out of that development. Because during the public hearing, if I remembered, there was residents that doesn't want a thoroughfare of traffic through their neighborhood, which we understood. So you have two ingresses and egresses for Smith Farm, actually entering into the village, because we have 53 homes there that we approved, or whatever it was, 59, I don't know the exact number. We have two ingresses and egresses coming out onto Gilbert. So that was where the flow of all the people coming out of development and into the development. So my concern out of what Dave and I looked at is the emergency gate. And number two, we don't want an opening there, a right-of-way of some sort, to get onto Owen Drive from the development. So Dave, if you want to go over the plan, which you see up on the screen.
Sure. So on, let's see, they have, I brought something too I wanted to hand out to you. This is from the Smith Farm resolution.
Okay. Was the share, or?
I brought four, I think.
Okay.
I looked through
Maybe you want
the resolution for
to
Smith
share,
Farm.
that's yours. I'll share with you.
And essentially what it makes mention of emergency access in multiple places, but they're generally talking in those other parts of the resolution about the need for the developer to maintain the access. They don't talk about its purpose. But there's a section in there that talks about the phasing for Smith Farm and that they're supposed to complete the emergency access drive and the gate system. I had emailed, and I think, Terry, you just had that map up. There's a section, and actually I think it's highlighted on the map that you have with that resolution. What they called for was steel bollards and a chain at the end of the Smith Farm Road, Devitt Circle. And I don't believe that that's not in yet, but that's a requirement of the applicant for Smith Farm subdivision to install. So if you look, I'll point to it on the map up here if that's okay.
That looks like the map, right, Dave?
Yeah, so.
Yeah, it's got the highlights too. Yep. Everybody see that? You
Yeah.
got that? No.
So, right up here, it says, proposed steel bollards with chain. So basically, it's proposed at the property line where that stone wall is. And so again, as Gary was indicating, it's so that the residents of Smith Farm subdivision don't come down Owen and then go down High Street. It's so that they essentially have to go down to Main Street back to Gilbert. So this is not there presently, to my knowledge, but it is on that resolution that they're supposed to do as part of phase 3. The new subdivision, and there's I just sent you an email, Terry, because I sent that to Gary
Just that?
yesterday. Yeah, I just sent it to you just now.
Okay.
So the point of this is what, for emergency vehicles to get through it? That's the whole point of it?
Right, going into the site.
So, yeah, can you scroll down on this message here?
This message.
That message, yeah. So this is aerial imagery from, I think it was April of this year.
Right.
So, right now, they have a gate, it looks like right here, and it's two arms of a gate. I don't know if it's secure or not, but certainly you could drive past that, right? You could go around here because of this driveway right here. You know, this guy could come out, go around, go up that way. Folks can come from Smith Farm and go around this and out to High Street. So that gate was intended to, on the Smith Farm plan, basically separate Smith Farm from this end. So I don't think necessarily it's incumbent for a gate to be here, but it needs to be somewhere along this stretch of road. And it was called for right here.
Correct.
So, you know, the board, I think, you know, would probably want to send something back to the town of Monroe Planning Board saying, you know, Smith Farm was required to have that, and,
So how, in a case of emergency, who gets out of their truck and unlocks the gate or whatever's gonna be there? I mean,
No, you crash through it.
yeah,
That's what the plan was, they had the crash gate.
It's,
So if a fire truck comes through, they just go right through
you
the
just smash
gate.
their truck
a
up.
lot of times they'll have like a Knox box or something so that
Right.
the fire department has a key to get in. Sometimes nowadays they make siren actuated gates.
Right.
So when it actually senses the high pitched sirens and will open automatically.
I mean, is this
But-
something that's necessary? Like, how do we approve at Smith Farm
Yes, we approved Smith Farm with this.
with that being?
With the gate.
Okay.
this
Yeah,
was-
it
this
said
was-
steel bollards with chain
Right.
is what it said on the approved map
Right.
for Smith Farm. Steel bollards and a chain.
Right, but then we said, you know, we'd like to see an emergency gate also, and that was it. So, and they didn't really put it in the place that it was supposed to be in.
I don't think it's there.
Yeah.
The gate that I see there, I don't know when
Right.
that was or if was intended to replace the gate, but clearly it's not functional in
Right.
terms of what this board, you know, was looking for.
Right, so basically what we need to do is we need to give feedback to the town, and I think we should copy the village board that we want to see what was proposed, or maybe even the village wants a electric gate that's controlled by siren or whatever, because we want to prevent traffic from coming into the village. That's not what the intent of the approval was, to have that traffic come in.
Right.
And we don't want to have the residents get upset. If this ever gets done and finished, we don't want to have to deal with that. We deal with it now with the town. So, I think we have to draft a letter to the town planning board, to the chairperson, that we reviewed this. Our concern is the Owen Drive and the gate or ballards that were supposed to be there according to the plans that were signed. We don't understand really where, I don't know, I couldn't see it because I went up Owen Drive, and going up Owen Drive, it looked a lot different. I couldn't see anything. There was a lot of foliage, and I wasn't going to walk through the high, tall woods, you know.
Did you try to drive back into Smith Clove and see it from that side at all? I'm just curious, if you could see
You mean into
Smith Farms.
Smith Farm?
Right. I'm just curious if you would see it going that way.
I didn't want to go to Smith Farm because it's a lot of signage there and warning that they didn't want people up there, and I would have went up there if I had ID. I don't have ID, or we don't have ID to go on a site. I mean, I could have went up there and somebody could have said, "What are you doing here?"
You're not allowed to drive on those roads?
Well, the way, if you look at all the signage, they don't want people trespassing. It's private property.
It's private roads.
Well, it's village roads, but it's a private development. It's an HOA. So basically, I wasn't going to start any trouble. And again, I have no ID. I could say I'm Gary Parisi from the Village Planning Board, and they're going to say, prove it, just like we have a soliciting permit in the village. You come around and they're soliciting to sell you something, well, let me see your soliciting permit. You have to have that with the village. And if they don't, then they shouldn't be soliciting. But I didn't want to go on there because it's private property, and there are some people that don't want you on their property. And I didn't want to do anything that way, so I figured, I'm not going to trespass. If you look down on Gilbert Street, going up into the development, there's all these signs with cameras and
I've seen it, yeah.
no trespassing, so I didn't want to go through. I would have loved to go back up to that part, wherever it is. I don't even know if that's done up there.
It is. So,
I mean, I could see it from a distance, but I don't know how far it's going over there to the end of the circle there where that.
is that the very, very top of Smith?
Yeah.
Okay, it is finished. Because there's a house, I've been up there.
Oh,
And there's
okay.
a house in the top left, just monster, beautiful, huge home, at the end there. And,
Right. You can see that from the road, Joe.
Yeah.
I think that was in the image, in the email that I sent.
Yeah.
That large house at the top.
Right.
In fact, I think that the proposed two houses is actually just one big house on that piece of property there, to be honest with you, but irrelevant.
Yeah, so, my concern is, from what we originally approved and what was signed, the site plans, we don't want traffic going on Owen Drive.
But one important thing here is that gate was part of the Smith Farm approval. So the developer of Smith Farm is the one responsible to install that gate.
Right.
And I don't know if they're the same, one and the same. The applicant for the 20 Owen Drive project is, if they're the same people.
Right.
I think that the name might be different. They may be the same,
Yeah.
owner, but.
Yeah, we don't have that information, so.
Right.
know.
So, I mean, I think ultimately, it's not going to be the applicant of 20 Owen Drive that's going to be responsible for putting up the gate. It's going to be the developer of Smith Farm.
Correct.
But it would
Correct.
be worthy of pointing out that that's a requirement, and that's going to be, essentially kept as emergency access.
And what almost gave it away is what you said, Dave, when you found out that there's no, we sell the water, the village sells the water to Smith Farm. So those three homes, as Dave pointed out, which he found out, they're wells.
Yeah.
So that almost leads me to believe that maybe it isn't part of Smith Farm, because if it was, they would have been hooked up to the water maybe, but I'm only assuming. But anyway, they're on wells. So they have their own private wells. So we need to draft a letter to the town planning board. And I'd like a copy of that going to the village board. I'll discuss it with the mayor, but that's something important that we've got to make sure that what we've approved and signed is got to be documented and physically there on the ground. So that's what we wanted to do this evening with Owen Drive. And this is a formality that, like I said, you do when you have close proximity on the borders, town and village, village or town. And this is nothing new. We've done this in the past. Well, when I was on the board, we've done this in the past. Marilyn, I'm sure you remember a few. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not built at all what we approved.
No, well, yeah, the town is different.
The village part is not even built the right way.
Right,
What it was supposed to be,
right,
you know?
right.
That's what's upsetting, you know?
Well,
So, yeah, and I'm in agreement that we don't want additional traffic. That's why I remember when the people from Owen Drive,
Yep.
I mean, I'm the secretary then, but I remember the whole promotion and the whole thing, and that's why they put that gate. However, they're supposed to be gates on other roads in the village that were never put up, and they turned into regular village roads. So if we can stop at least those 3 cars, I know it's hard for them, they're gonna have to go around, but they decided to build there. So, I mean, it's what it is, and I agree that they should put that gate back, considering nothing else is done right, and not according to what was approved, if you would have seen the plan.
right, yep. And there was a lot of things after we signed it and that went on. There was a lawsuit that the village did win. Yeah, so,
Didn't help, you can't take the houses down.
no. But anyway, for this matter, I just wanted to have it presented tonight to the board so you know what's going on, and what we felt, Dave and I, when we looked at it, and move forward with it to the town planning board and give our input, and copy our village board for this. Okay? Any other discussion on that, or, Ivan, you have anything? That was the one that we were talking about at that time, and I knew nothing about it.
Right, I remember, yeah.
And, what do you want to have a meeting for them? And I said, for what? What am I looking at? Where's plans? Well, we finally got that done through the applicant finally sent it. He said he sent it previously. I wasn't aware of it, and I apologized for it. And that's why he resent it, and that's why we put it on tonight's agenda, so. Okay. Moving forward, we have the approval of the minutes. June 8th, 2026, the workshop. Has everybody had a chance to review them? We need a motion to approve those minutes.
Everybody was here, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. The June 28th regular meeting, 2026, agenda, regular meeting minutes. If everybody had a chance to look at them, we want to make an approval and move forward on that. And I think everybody was here, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, any, all in favor, aye? Okay. We have one more thing on the agenda, December's, I noticed there wasn't anything on the calendar for December meeting on the village website.
Okay.
So I brought it up to Terry, and there was one, but there's going to be an issue for you, Terry, so
14?
it's,
Put it down as the 14th. That's gonna be a tough day for me to be here. And then we were looking at the 15th, but I think that's the town board has a meeting, so then we thought about the 17th.
correct, the
Right?
17th.
Was available.
Yeah, because there's only one meeting in December.
Right.
So, and that was the original schedule. So that's why a couple things came up, so,
So Thursday the 17th, you're thinking?
right.
It's good for Ivan, I know that.
And again, I'm not sure why we only have one meeting. They called it a special meeting or something.
Yeah, this is the holidays.
Well, I don't know, I was here for many years and we've had a holiday the same time.
Yeah.
And we've always had two meetings. So,
Would have been the 22nd.
so usually I remember the workshop might have been a little busier that month, but the regular meeting was not too heavy. So, but we had two meetings as a normal situation, so. But anyway, because it's been an approved calendar and there's some issues that came up, so if everybody's in favor for that Thursday,
Yeah.
the 17th,
Plenty of time to adjust.
we should notify Barbara too.
And I'll have her put it on the website. I don't know why she did this originally.
Yeah. So we should probably have a motion to move the December special meeting from the 14th to the, was it the 14th? Yeah, to the 17th on Thursday. Do we have a motion? Okay, do we have a second? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Okay. Do we have a motion to close the regular meeting? Oh,
Talk about the signs at all? You gonna do that?
what's that?
The sign from that, I told you some of that one.
Well, that's something, yeah, we'll have to, the board's gonna have to look at that. Yeah. Yeah, supposedly, again, I think I brought this up a month or two ago. I think the sign law was changed way back, I don't know when. We never really approved regular signs or banners that I remember. No, we only approved signs that were freestanding, that are site plan, on the site plan. So if a new building's going in and they need a freestanding sign, that's where we got involved because we became the Architectural Review Board. I guess the law was changed that, when I looked at it, it looked a lot different than what I remember. The law was changed that instead of the building department that used to take care of banners and signs, became part of the planning board's jurisdiction. And, that's stuff that's simple. It's not being mounted, so to say, on the ground, or it's not a height problem where you have to have wind regulations to meet. So I discussed it with the mayor, and he understood that we should probably revert back to the way it was and keep us for the freestanding signs, that we approve that if there's a site plan in front of us. Or if the building is there and they're doing some changes and they're gonna put a new sign up and improve this, revise the site plan, that's something we should be involved with. So anyway, the way the law is written now, there's supposed to be guidelines, which there are a few from what I remember and I read, but there's supposed to be sample signs, which there's no sample signs. So I guess the previous board was supposed to, I'm just surmising that they were supposed to give us samples, what certain signs should look like that go on a building, that banners and things like that. So we have nothing there that I saw. So we're going to have to entertain this until the village maybe changes that law to where it should be, where the building department. Because I remember the building department took care of all that. We never got involved. Right, yeah. And it was mostly banners, signs that were put up on the front of the building, things like that, or on the
The
sign.
temporary ones, you mean?
Not temporary, no,
Okay.
final signs, lit
Final.
up, yeah, they're lit up. So, again, I know the village is looking at the zoning code again, but we're gonna get we'll get an application in, that somebody wants to do a sign. So we'll take a look at that, just so everybody's aware of it. And we'll try to do the best we can with guidelines that are there in the zoning code. Okay? So that was something maybe we're just gonna mention tonight, but I told Terry, no, we have to do it because it's in the code and it's our responsibility the way it's written in the code, so we have to do it. So, and that was it. So we need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
We have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Aye. Thank you.